I reached burnout this week, and with that burnout has come a lot of freedom. There was a tone shift for me in the way I'm responding at work. When people show you who they are, believe them.
I'm so sad. Since I lost you, I've been hiding. Think you saw me with your friends last night.
Moving through life and my career now, as someone who is disabled, I'm constantly worrying about, am I good enough? Will they doubt that I'm the right person for this? Things like that are going through my mind. What I recognize is a lack of communication from my leadership. Their lack of communication, that void is being filled with the thoughts in my head about, am I good enough? Can I do this? Did they pick the right person? Things that I shouldn't even be considering, because in all honesty, I know I'm the right person for this job. I know I can do this job. And given the right amount of staff support, I wouldn't be working 60, 70, 80 plus hour weeks, which part of me is a little ashamed that I even got to this point where I let myself work so darn hard before I put together, conscious or not, they were taking advantage of my perfectionism, my need to do it right the first time, my need to succeed, putting me in a position with even less support staff than the position had before, and expecting me to learn my new job, keep up my old job, and continue to learn a third job that is not even mine while training someone on that job. Like, who could do that? Even able-bodied folks would have a hard time keeping up with all of that. And the fact that that expectation's just kind of been laid there, I'm getting to the place where I recognize that that's not on me. That's on them. And all I can do is pull back, give 100% at my new job, and the stuff that is my old job and the other job that I'm trying to train for in my support staff, that's really on them, not me. Will deadlines be missed? Yes. I missed a few this weekend. Turns out the earth is still spinning, which is great news. The Death Eaters didn't come for me, and all is fine. So it makes me wonder, why was I working so hard to begin with? And then it clicked. For weeks, and I'll rewind in this video where you can see it, I was still drinking the Kool-Aid of the team, where I was putting all of the onus on myself. But the reality is, culture starts from the top down, and I'm not the top. And when the expectation is we'll keep dumping more and more and more on you, and as long as you keep producing, we'll keep giving you more, that won't work for a personality like mine. Because all I'm going to do is work myself to death, which I've been doing for months. And it landed me in a spot where mentally I was breaking, physically I was starting to break and have issues, new issues, fun new issues, which for Crohn's, they're never really fun. It basically was putting me in a position where I was going to have to choose my health and sanity or this job. And if there's a choice there, that one's really easy because I'm not getting sick for a job. Any job that would want me to work so hard that I'm contemplating, should I just go ahead and get sick to catch up and stay caught up? Not the job for me. And if you find yourself in a position like that, not the job for you. Back at work. This is one of those days where I'm glad to have the break to have taught this morning. That's a lot of fun and always really rewarding. And then I get back to work where I got a ton of things to do because it's Friday, which is great. I'm really looking forward to having the weekend off. I do have to work a little bit tomorrow just to catch up. Almost 2 p.m. and I'm feeling drained. It's a long day. Today's been a long day. I'm gonna power through the last few hours. Let's do it.
Such a tragic, rather painful sight. So I ran back to my heart.
It was a busy day. I really didn't have time to stop at all today. It was just go, 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 go. No stopping. Those are some of the best days because I get the most done and I don't notice pain. I just am too busy to kind of notice I don't feel well. So I kind of love days like this because, again, they move quickly.
Hi, Junkers. Hi. 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 How was your day? Hi. Hi.
Where's the girls?
The
my
girls,
fans?
the girls weren't working today, Brylee, at the grocery, so you didn't get any tweets because that boy didn't know you. I don't know how he didn't know you, but he didn't. Oh boy. She's real sad.
Today is one of those days where the tummy pain is awful. I think it's just, I don't know what it is actually. How was your day, Chunk?
Hopelessly hoping you to call. If we think about it, we think too much. Maybe we should talk about it, it should be enough. But we'll never be enough for us if we not give up. Just say yes. 'Cause baby, 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 we're better than that. Maybe, 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 maybe it's as simple as that. If there's love in afterlife.
Another day, another class.
Hope we
Week
can
4.
stay
I'm kind of excited about today's lesson plan because it's fun. There's some games and activities, so I'm excited to see how they go. We will see, because you never know how those might go over. Let's get started with class. Well, today was wild. I started at like 7 answering emails, and I didn't leave until 5:30, so it was a very long day. Hi, Chunk. You ready to go to college?
If we think about it, we think too much. Maybe we should talk about it, should be enough. But we'll never be enough for us if we're not.
Considering
give up.
I'm putting in a bunch of extra time, I feel like no matter what I do, it's really tough to stay ahead. I know it's not me. I know it's not that I'm not able to do the job that they've given me. Although I did do that to myself for a day or two. I thought, well, this is me. I'm not good enough. Or I was basically ashamed that I felt like I couldn't do the job they'd hired me for. Nothing could be further from the truth. I can do my job. I just can't do my job and a couple of other people's jobs too. And that's kind of what's been happening. And it's really wearing me out.
And when I think about it, I think too much. I don't wanna talk about it, we talk enough. I'd rather think about it. 'Cause
I cannot be the only person who is out there trying to figure out what it is that I need to do to be successful, you know? And I know I can't be the only person who is diagnosed with a disability and figuring out how comfortable they are with asking for help. I can't be putting in the extra time I'm putting in and not burn out. Maybe it's just a rough couple of weeks. I don't know.
'Cause baby, 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 baby.
The other thing I think I can say definitively, without a doubt, is that there is not only pressure to perform, but pressure to succeed. And I think everybody to an extent has that feeling like if I don't perform at a certain level, then I failed. That's just negative self-talk that none of us need. Least of all folks with disabilities. I mean, we're kind of dealing with enough. One of the things I'm trying to work on for myself more and more is just to give myself a little more grace and assume that other people are willing to do that for me too, right? I don't think everything is so black and white. There's lots of gray. And often we're our own worst critics. I know I am. So that's something I think I need to work on. It's probably something a lot of us need to work on. You coming?
Better than that. Maybe, 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 maybe it's simple.
Getting overwhelmed is really universal. However, it takes on a heaviness when you're disabled. There's something about it that makes you feel like you're not good enough, or there's some shame that I carry when I have to ask for help because I feel like people might look at me and assume that, can they handle this? That's not really the case. Everyone needs help. Everyone needs to be able to ask for help, whether we're at work or not. And it's really important that we feel comfortable enough to ask for help when we need it. I need some help. I'm overwhelmed. Having a hard time. I'm figuring this out as I go along. I'm doing the best I can. I need help. That's okay. Doesn't make me weak. Doesn't mean I'm not the right person for the job. All those things are things I worry about. Doesn't make them true. I do find that those are the voices in my head. The voices telling me they're gonna question whether or not you were the right person for the job. Is that fair? Heck no. But I'm also here on a Sunday for several weeks in a row, Saturdays and Sundays, putting in a whole lot of time.
'Cause baby, 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 we're better than that.
Something I noticed the last few weeks that is just a truth about being disabled is that we have a tendency, or at least I have a tendency, to feel like I need to work twice as hard as everyone else around me in order to prove that I'm as good as they are. And the truth is, I see now that doesn't pay off. And all that does is set me up for failure. And so let me tell you, if you're like me and you're out there thinking, let me put in a few extra hours and someone up the chain is going to notice, assume they won't. Maybe you'll have the kind of manager who appreciates the extra time and energy you put into the job, but by and large, people don't. And that's a really tough reality for me to come to, because I'm not that kind of manager. The people that work for me, when they put in 15 minutes of extra work, I go out of my way to thank them and try to do something nice to show appreciation for that extra effort, besides a monetary overtime whatever. But that's me. That's my management style. Not everybody's that way. And my leadership certainly isn't that way. In fact, if anything, they put us in a desert of feedback where we don't really get a lot of feedback, and the silence we fill with our own mental games of what the expectations are. That's a scary place for somebody who already feels like I have to prove myself. And I think what I'm learning about this and myself in this situation is we don't have nothing to prove, okay? No one gives you a job. You earn the position based on your experience, based on what you've proven to them. You earn your place. And I want us to stay in the spot, the world, where we recognize we earned the position we have. And no one gave us anything, because that whole mindset of, oh, they gave me an opportunity, an opportunity presented itself. You fit the needs of that role. They chose you. You stepped into it. It's yours. Take up space. Don't be afraid to ask for help, like I have been the last month, afraid to ask for help. And that, again, is a leadership issue. That's something I'll need to address with my employer and work through with them. And I will, believe me, I will. In evaluations and other ways to give feedback, I will give the feedback that this has not been healthy, and the lack of communication creates an unhealthy work environment for those of us that are not able-bodied folk. The number one thing I learned over this month is, as a disabled person trying to make it in career, don't be afraid to ask for help. Number two, don't be afraid to take up space. No one gave you this job. You earned this job. Now that you're in it, take up the space in it. Feel free to ask for the help and the accommodations that you need to be successful. No one can expect you to go in and do 2 jobs, a third job, and train that person in that third job. No one can expect that of you, unless you continue to deliver for them when they're laying those expectations on you, which is where I found myself. Just continuing to deliver, even though I was being given less and less and less support. That's my advice. Don't fall in the trap that I have fallen into the last few weeks, where I have felt like asking for help was a weakness, not true. That I didn't deserve the job that I had, also not true. And I would say one more thing while I'm talking about culture. Even the idea, if you're doubting whether or not they chose the right person, that's a culture issue. And that's something that is going on in your work culture that is making everyone feel like they are disposable, replaceable, and no one adds any real value on their own or through their own skill set. And that's really how it's felt the last few weeks. And that's been really hard to come to terms with. And for me, an event happened this week that I'll talk about in next week's vlog, which was pretty earth-shattering for me and woke me up to the fact that life is too short to work 60, 70, 80-hour weeks. Once in a while, I'm on salary, so sure, I'm happy to do that, especially for my chairs and the people that do appreciate me and show respect for my work. But the people that don't, forget their deadlines. Forget worrying about trying to please them. You're never going to please them. They don't care. And the sooner you get to the place of, I don't really care what they think about me either, welcome to where I've been all weekend, where I've slept more than 8 hours a night, which I haven't done for 4 weeks. I haven't worked. Friday at 6 o'clock, I closed my computer and did not open it again all weekend. And man, that has felt freeing. I can't even begin to tell you. I had not eaten dinner with my husband since Super Bowl, where we sat down at a table and actually ate, and I asked, how was your day? How was your day? If you find yourself in that position where you're giving your all to a job and you're missing out on family time or time to just shut off from work, spend time with your loved ones, spend time doing the things you love to do. If you don't have time for that, please reevaluate the position. It's not healthy. And if they're not willing to give you the support you need to stay in that role, start looking. It's a hot job market. Nobody needs to get sick, especially disabled folk. Invisible disabilities especially. Do this for yourself. Do not let them make you sick. Don't do it. Recognize that anybody who is willing to work you that hard just to watch you break, they don't deserve that from you. Save that for the folks that do appreciate you and your work. Truly. This week was tough. It was hard for me to not give 150%. Very hard. Just because I always have. I always want to. I always want to prove that I'm good enough. And the truth is, I am good enough. You are good enough. And nobody out there needs to give us that validation. The fact that you got a place at that table tells you you're good enough. So stay in that mindset. Don't let them make you feel any differently about that. That was the thing I needed to learn this week. So how about you? How about any of you with disabilities? Invisible disabilities, visible disabilities. Tell me about your experiences not feeling good enough at work. Tell me about what it feels like when a boss makes you feel like you need to give more than you can, or else you're not as valuable as the next person. And for my able-bodied folks, how about you all? We're not the only people who get unrealistic expectations from employers. Tell us about your experiences. Who's the boss that dumped the most on you and really didn't care? Tell us about it in the comments below. I look forward to visiting with you guys about your stories. At some point, respect is a two-way street. If they want to get it from us, they got to give it to us. And I'll say, I'm one of those people that I'm loyal to a fault. When that loyalty changes, or I see a crack in that loyalty from the other side, it's like a switch, baby. And when it flips, it's very hard to come back on. I'm being loyal to the wrong people. It's all about checking those priorities. Hang in there, cronies. It does not have to be hard. It does not have to hurt. Existing and working does not have to be hard. See you next week.